Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast live. Wednesday night edition. That clap was, yeah, you already know that clap.
Sherman.
I knew it. Real funny style looking clap from the Transformer. But you all see what it is. We're back, and we're gonna kick it with you for the next, I don't know how long, but yeah, we got Transformer, myself, G. What's going on, fellas?
What's popping? Brand new whip just hopped in.
Okay, so we got some we got some interesting topics for y'all tonight, as you can see by the thumbnail. Obviously, we're gonna do our pick 'em for week 2. Get to a little bit more about Deshaun Watson. We talked about him. I talked about him last night, but tonight I'm gonna get the opportunity to bring the guys in and give their thoughts. Shedeur Sanders and his prospects going forward. And Shaquille O'Neal talks about the Wokes, and that should be an interesting one. So, yeah, we're going to get to that in a minute. But before we do, y'all know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't. All right. So like I said, we got some pretty interesting topics here. Before we get started, though, on these main topics, we'll get a little bit of quick hits going. So I'm gonna let Transformer go ahead and take off with that. Go ahead, bro.
So apparently, our most famous uncle, man, boy, is he
not my uncle
right
acting
now,
like
man.
that.
Hey man, my uncle get down like that.
Yeah, not publicly.
So apparently, Uncle Shannon Sharp,
my
Hall of Fame tight end,
yes,
first take analyst, nightcap
yes,
host with Chad Ochocinco,
yes,
was on IG Live, man. I guess IG Live must mistakenly, quote unquote, got activated in the midst of him clapping some cheeks. The video went on for about a minute 30 seconds, and you heard a lot of groaning, grinding, bumping and grinding. You heard some voices, some moaning. So of course he's on some heavy fire, man. He's under some heavy fire.
Yeah.
Some folks wanting to come after him for like they think he should be suspended. And I'm like, okay, suspended for what exactly? Right? I mean, there was no video. We saw nothing. We heard stuff.
That's true.
It could be a video.
You don't even really know if that was him.
Yeah, I mean, we heard some mumbling, which sounded like him. You know what I mean? He was like, "Yeah, you know that ass is mine." You know what I mean? So it's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, you live, you live." So, in the midst of that happening, I don't see how there could be any repercussion for him. You know what I mean? Like, what's the consequence for going on live? There's no video. The phone, I guess, falls. And you see nothing, but you hear stuff. Wasn't nothing crazy. You just heard a bunch of moaning, just a bunch of moaning. Right. You could tell from a grown-up perspective, it sounds like something sexually active was going down, but there's no proof of what was actually going down. So
true.
My take is you can't do anything to him. I mean, what's the crime of having a sex life?
It's not that. Like, think about who his day job employer is, right? Who is the Disney, right? Not ABC, not ESPN. Disney is the parent company, and you know how Disney is. They claim they want to keep things clean for the kids. I'm not going to take it any further than that, but
how about
claim that. Yeah, I'm not. We're not doing that. But yeah, they say that, and so if they feel maybe something untoward was going on, or if they face a bit of public backlash, they might go ahead and suspend them. You never know.
Like, on what grounds? I mean, he didn't break the IG policy, because there's an IG policy. No policy was broken. There was nothing brandished. There was nothing seen. Right? There was only audio of what we think happened. You know what I mean? Like, there's like, okay. quote unquote, we know what happened. We know what was going down. But
we think we do,
like,
right?
But I'm saying it's still a thought. Like, I mean, benefit of the doubt. It could have been his phone was on, and that could have been a recording for all we know of something that was going down. So, like
he
I said, I
claims
don't think they have, he have enough grounds. And I believe actually he's about to go. He's actually about to speak on it here in a matter of a couple of hours on Nightcap.
I think he's on Nightcap now.
I think it's at 9.
No, it's 9 Eastern. So
yeah, I think it's at 9.
About 45 minutes.
Yeah. So of course he's going to address
us, don't change the channel to go watch Nightcap. Watch that later. Watch the replay.
I'm very, very curious to hear, what I'm saying, what exactly he's going to say. He likes to ride the wave of anything that's going on, controversial going on with him. He'll definitely bring it up. He has no problem addressing what happened.
Right.
And I'm just curious to hear what happened, man. What he says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. G, what's your thoughts, man?
I didn't hear and or see or listen to any of what Transform is talking about. But what I did see was how the internet was just destroying on man.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you guys got a chance to see like the memes and stuff. That one James Brown meme. Yeah, that James Brown meme. Classic, man. Classic, man. And yeah.
Right.
But I love when celebrities get caught in and doing some just human stuff, right? Like the internet makes a big deal out of it. Like this guy, you know what I mean? Well, anyway, I'm gonna next slide that one. I ain't even gonna go there. It's good to see on getting, you know what I mean, doing his just due, man. Like,
well, listen, man, if you hear this dude talking on Nightcap, you know he does his thing.
He goes. Like he does.
The way him and Ocho be talking on Nightcap, I'll be weak sometimes, just cracking up.
But I tell you what, man, he in a sense addressed the homosexual rumors of the Shay talk and stuff like that. Like,
sure did.
Man, we obviously see how he gets down.
We
hear how he gets down.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
You know what I mean? Huh?
Are you sure?
Nope. We're not doing that. We are not doing that.
I would like for Bruce to keep his show, man. I would definitely like him to keep his show. I have a great time going live with you guys, man. I would hate for us to have to end it the way we do.
Yeah, we are not doing that.
So my brother Sean, he just put a comment in. People trying to compare the Paul Pierce situation, which is the total opposite.
Yeah.
Paul Pierce was clearly on video. You see him going
smoking a spliff
with
the shorties in the background, like
money, cursing,
obviously drunk. Yeah, he was wild.
Like he was going ham. So like
that's
ground for suspension. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like audio of just moaning, you know what I mean?
Right.
I can't really say that that's anywhere near the exact same thing. You know what I mean?
I got you.
But yeah, man. RG3 got fired for less.
Did we find out what he got fired for? Because it was random, man. That was crazy. He just all of a sudden got let go. Oh snap! What do I don't know? What do I not know, guys? Fill me in.
Oh man. Oh, that's
he didn't have the no Diddy shirt, I guess. Eating croissant. He didn't have no Diddy shirt.
Remember?
The giant croissant.
Yeah, the giant croissant. I mean, I don't know how you fired somebody for that, but it didn't look good for real.
Hey, no, that photo was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for a grown man to have his mouth wide open like that, trying to put. Oh man, there's no way for that to come out like.
Next slide.
There's no way for me to put that in words and like it come off crazy because it was crazy.
It was crazy.
It was crazy, man.
It was crazy. I would demonstrate, but I will not. Pause.
I would just say go on Google it, man. You guys will see it and you'll be like, whoa.
Yeah, RG3 giant croissant. I'm pretty sure
you'll come back in the chat and have a good laugh, man.
Shedeur Sanders, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. We are seeing him, and I think he's special. The problem is obviously the team around him, for the most part, is not. I mean, he's got elite skill guys, but he's being he's being bodied because they can't keep him upright.
He's running for his life.
Yeah, the protection's terrible. They can't run the football. It's just a bad spot. Yeah, Steve, you're absolutely right. There's a lot, but yeah, Shedeur, he's not getting protected. They can't run the football. For whatever reason, Pat Shurmur, who's an NFL guy at the OC spot, he is calling a lot of deep pass concepts, which are taking a while to develop and leaving Shedeur back there for more opportunities to get hit. I really don't understand it. So what I wanted to kind of get from you guys is oh man, yeah, we talked about Shannon briefly at the start of the show. Christopher, you missed that. We didn't get into it too tough, but yeah. So where were we? Yeah, Shedeur. Yes. So I'm kind of looking at him, and what I want to know from y'all is what are your thoughts on his prospects for the next level, and then we'll kind of we'll hear what Stephen A has to say about it. We'll hear what noted draft analyst Mel Kiper has to say about it. But I wanted to kind of get you guys' thoughts on Shedeur and what you think he can or can't be at the next level and what you're seeing from him. So whoever wants to start, go ahead, kick it off.
All right, okay, go ahead, G. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the second game, right? It's the second game of the season.
Of the year. Yep.
Yep. And so we're starting to see. Well, hopefully these guys can kind of make adjustments and be a little bit better. You know, either changes to offense or change the schemes, right? Like I know they ain't gonna be able to block for that kid, and it's sad. We might just see a wasted Shedeur Sanders if that offensive line can't do nothing to they protect them actually, right? They don't have a running game, and so it's not like they can lean on anything. Yeah, it's just gonna be hard. I don't know if he's gonna finish the season with that offensive line, and so
I think definitely Deion set him down. If anything, if it start getting ugly,
if it get ugly, he definitely gonna pull. I don't know if he's gonna do it, but man, I mean, the kid running for his life, man. They're just not ready. They just don't have the personnel. Also, he can make all the throws. Mr. 400. He can put 400 yards on the ground. I mean, in the air, and it's just he just don't have the tools necessary to succeed. Teams getting to him. They get into him, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the season play out, but I don't have any stock in them like winning over 5 games or anything like that.
Yeah, I really was under the impression that they would coming into the Big 12, but I don't see it now. I thought they would have improved much more in the trenches, but it seems to me, I could be wrong. It seems to me that what Deion wants to do is showcase his son and Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, right? And so by letting his son hang in there and make all these big throws and have a laser light show passing offense, it makes his son look better. But we know that Shedeur is going to get drafted. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the combine. It's going to come down to the interviews, right? And who drafts him. I mean, we can see from the tape, he's got all the tools. He's got all the skills. He's a smart quarterback. He trained with Brady. But at the end of the day, I feel like Deion is subjecting him to more than he needs to. And at the end of the day, Deion is the head coach. So he can pull the OC and say, hey, we're not doing this. Like you, I mean, obviously he's not going to say it like you're subjecting my son to blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you're his pops and his coach. Like if that was some random kid, you wouldn't subject him to all of that beating that he's taking. Furthermore, your own son. So I don't even understand why he hasn't talked to the coach like, hey, what's going on? I mean, think about this, right? You watch Colorado play. They have all these 4 and 5 receiver sets. Like, no extra running back in the backfield to chip. Even when the running back is back there, he'll go out into the route. Like he's not staying back there to chip and give extra protection. Play with a tight end, right? I don't know if you have every team has a tight end, right? But you're not doing anything to protect this guy. You're not running any Max Pro type sets. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like you are, okay, we know Shedeur can play. But 1, are you trying to win or are you trying to show off your kids, right? For the next level. 2, again, you're allowing them to be put in dangerous situations. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Transformer, did you speak on this before we go ahead and start playing some of the clips? Go ahead, bro.
I mean, I think G, spoke about it already. I mean, from a Shedeur standpoint, when it comes to his stock, you can't really do much to it. Other than the fact that he can get hurt.
Right.
Like, that's the only thing that can change anything is the fact that he's more liable to get hurt The kid's up there running from his life. We've seen what he can do. We've seen he can make the throws. We've seen he can scramble. He's in the sense durable enough to, withstand the game. But as far as a production standpoint for the team, what do you say all the time, Bruce? Run the ball, stop the run.
Stop the run.
You can't run. You can't run the ball. You can't protect the quarterback.
They're terrible.
You know what I mean? So at that point, you're in a situation to where the team itself is going to look terrible. I mean, anything that comes out positive from the offensive side of the ball is coming from Shedeur Sanders. So I think that only just leaves him where he's at from a draft perspective. He's going to go top 5. The NFL teams are already looking at him. But, I mean, from a Colorado Buffs perspective, we're just like, I mean, you guys are freaking awful, man. You got to protect your best asset. You can't even protect your asset. You can't run the ball. You can't stop the run. You know what I mean? So it's like, from a team perspective, it's just awful. But for Shedeur Sanders, I mean, he's set. He's set to go top 5 next year.
All right. Well, let's hear what Stephen A.
get drafted. I don't see why people say Shiloh get drafted.
He's going to get drafted, but I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick. I think he'd probably be like a mid-round guy. But that's cool. Send 2 sons to the league. He'd be all right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Let's hear what Stephen A. had to say on First Take about Shedeur.
Last year, the Colorado Buffaloes had the worst rushing attack in the nation, averaging 68.9 yards per game. Do y'all know that they're worse this year at 37.5 yards? That is an atrocity. That is horrible. Okay, now, FYI, loss to sacks are included in rush yards in college football, not the NFL. But in college football, the amount of times that you're sacked and the yardage that you lose, that counts as a rush, okay? Shedeur Sanders has been sacked 58 times since last season. 58 times, second most in the nation. He's getting slaughtered. And so now you have a situation in Colorado where the offensive line was obviously a priority. You got 5 new offensive linemen. They look worse than they did last year. And then on top of it all,
the turnover, it's so hard to be in chemistry for an offensive line.
So you don't have you don't have an offensive line, which means you can't pass protect and you can't run block. So we don't even know how to judge the running backs, and we don't know if we can judge Shedeur Sanders, but so much because he's getting slaughtered.
So I think everything Stephen A. said there was right. My question is it Colorado can't run or they don't have any desire to run, right?
Got sacked 6 times last game. It wasn't a good game for them. So
Nebraska's defense is physical. Nebraska had a good defense last year. That defense has improved even more this year. So here's the deal, though, right? Everyone talks about Dion and the transfer portal and how many transfers he had, right? Do we know that Matt Rule had, I think, the second most transfers in the country last year? They transferred a ton as well, but guess what? Their team is playing a lot better, and they're playing in a tougher conference. Nebraska last year lost, I think, 5 games by 3 points. And what was the stat? 5 games by 3 points. And of those, there were 17 turnovers, 14 of which were had by the quarterback. And so now they got Dylan Raiola, who's really good this year. But the point is, how is it that Matt Rule he's getting his program together and he's using just as many transfers, but Dion can't figure this out? I think maybe his priorities are in the wrong place. That's me. Y'all's thoughts?
I just think, you play against you sack the quarterback 6 times. I mean, that's going to disrupt their offense. I can't look at the whole season because they haven't played everybody yet.
Right.
So, take it as one bad game, right? One bad game.
Yeah.
And hopefully they make some adjustments. I can't say, Dion is running his program in the ground. It's too early to say that.
It's coming from the ground up.
So let me ask you,
right? It's like they still grassroots. Like,
do y'all anticipate the program being better next year without Shedeur and Jimmy Horn Jr. and Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders? I think
the focus will change because now the focus isn't truly on your sons anymore. Now you really can dive into the meat and potatoes of like, okay, my kids are gone, my kid is drafted. That part is finished. As a father, I've done my duty, put my kid in the best situation to succeed. He's not in the NFL. I am no longer his coach. I can now hone in on the key details of what the hell the problem is with this team. What's wrong with the coaching? What's wrong with the play calling? And what's wrong with these guys up in the trenches? I got to get the bros and the players available and focus on that more than, all the attention being on Shedeur Sanders.
So your take is that he's kind of blinded by his son?
I think so.
Plural.
I would expect that. I mean, your son is a top 5 prospect right now. You know what I mean? At the same time, you're going to always be a father, whether regardless you're the coach or not. You're going to always be his father. Your biggest goal is to put your child in the best situation to succeed, and then after that, you're worried about the rest of those kids. I mean, I'm not mad at him for thinking that way, but I think with Shedeur being gone, you can now hone in on okay, let's truly look at our scouting team and let's truly go get some guys that can fill in the gaps and have us improve on the next season.
Okay, well let's listen to what Mel Kiper, noted draft analyst and scout for ESPN, what he had to say. And then after that, we'll go ahead and open up the phone lines if you all don't have anything else.
Mel, right now you have Shedeur Sanders as your 9th best player on your big board. I know the physical traits are there. My question to you is, based on the level of productivity that you believe he's going to have this year, knowing that the offensive line in Colorado is shaky at best, knowing that there are going to be some errant mistakes like the pick 6 that he threw against Nebraska in the shadow of his old goal line, can Shedeur Sanders play himself out of being a top 10 pick?
He can. He's not at 9 right now, Chris. He dropped a little bit from that. But the schedule, I think you look at where we are right now, Colorado State, that's not Nebraska. Matt Rule in year 2 always turns his teams around. I think over-under was 7.5 on them in Vegas for a win total. They're probably going to win 8 games, maybe 9. Nebraska is a much improved team, but they only were rushing 4 guys. They weren't rushing 5, 6, and they couldn't block them. So I think you got Colorado State, Baylor. The schedule down the line isn't as difficult. Okay, so I think there's going to be chances where they can compete athletically and up front better than they could at Lincoln and that environment the way it was. So I think there's chances there. There's going to be obviously some teams that are better than them coming up, but not significantly better, where he shouldn't have a fighting chance. And that's what you want, Chris. You can't evaluate a quarterback and say he's good, bad, and if he's not getting any help. So for that game, I throw it out. And people say his comments after the game, it's always got to be I. Josh Allen, after every game from the first year up until now, is saying, I got to get a little better. He never said we as a team. I have to. So when you say, well, Raiola, did you see how and when you throw it to that, I think you just go away from just say I just got to keep working. I got to get better. I got to work through this. And I think Shedeur will do that. Shedeur's a great kid, and he's a tremendous competitor. He's a heck of a quarterback, and he's not getting a fair shake right now.
So that was one thing that I didn't touch on that I do not like with Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't seem to be an accountability guy, right? And you would think that Deion, with all the training that he's given Shedeur, and that Shedeur having been in the limelight pretty much since I guess he started playing football, based on who his father is, you would think one of the things that he would have taught him or had someone teach him is that when you're in front of that podium, if it doesn't go well, take all the blame and deflect all the credit, right? Because that's what you hear and see all the great quarterbacks doing. So, for instance, Mel Kiper, he mentioned the Dylan Raiola comment. So after the Colorado game, one of the reporters asked Shedeur something and referenced Dylan Raiola, and Shedeur was like, did Dylan, how many times did Raiola get hit? Did you see his protection? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, that's not what you're supposed to say. What you're supposed to say is, hey, those guys over there played a great game. Hats off to them. I got to get back in the film room. I got to be better. I got to do better and do more to try and help this team win. That's it, right? That's all you got to say as the leader, as the franchise quarterback, whether, it's pro or college. That's how you respond to that. And I'm surprised that he doesn't handle the post-game situations better than he does. That's kind of weird to me.
I don't think that changes his stock, though.
People look at those things, though, because all that has to do with leadership and the intangibles. If you're talking about a franchise quarterback, people look at those things.
I mean, Caleb walked around
does that take away from his skill? Absolutely
fingernails
not.
And crying and all that, and he went number 1. I mean,
yeah, he had a meltdown. Remember?
He had literally a meltdown.
Believe me, I remember.
They don't care about that. Are you talented? Cool. Can we fix the issue of how you talk on the podium? Absolutely. You can fix that.
No, I get
accountability. Easy day.
Is it an easy day? Is it? I would think it is, but maybe it's not. That's all I'm saying. Steve, great question. I think so.
Yeah.
I think the answer is yes.
You give that kid an offensive line and more time to sit back in the pocket and a run game to take the pressure off of him. Yes. I mean, the kid is looking good without these things.
I like it. I mean, we seeing a kid grow into becoming a man, and much of that is being able to. Hopefully, the next time he find himself in a situation, he'll be able to man up and take accountability. But like I said, we watching a kid grow into being a man. You would already say he's a man. I would differ, because as a man, it's just certain things you already know what to do, and that might be his father. Right? Come on, bro. Like, no, you can manage a team, but if he was a man, he would be able to take accountability for what's going on and not putting the blame. You know what I'm saying? So that's on his father. That's on his father for not like preparing him to be that type of person. That's on his father. And that's just how I feel.
No, I'm cool. I agree. I can't argue that. All right. Shedeur, last thing you want to add, Transform, before we open up the phone lines?
Oh, nothing. I mean, we touched on it already, Pauls. It does nothing to his draft stock. In my opinion, it does nothing to his draft stock. Like, the kid's talented, all the talent that is there.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen the film, everything like that.
Colorado,
they have a lot of work to do. When it comes to the podium, I don't think that touches his draft stock. Like I said, we saw Caleb have a complete meltdown, painting his fingernails, crying in the middle of a game, crying at the end after the game. And it was just, he was by far the sure number one pick way before he even finished the season. So, I think Shedeur is in a great spot, man. Touchdown already. It's crazy. We can't say nothing no more, man. Normal terminology that we used to say back in 2022, 2021.
I don't know what you touched on that.
Let me speak on what you touched on.
This is a very different world from 2022.
Bro, we can't say nothing, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can't say and can't do, man. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the phone lines now.
See, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with talking about opening up the phone lines.
I'm going to open up the phone lines. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Yes, Steve, we got to say pause after everything.
After everything, man. You can't say anything.
The number is in the chat, and the number's also scrolling on the bottom of the screen. I would love to hear anybody's thoughts on Shedeur Sanders, and if they wanted to add to the discussion on him before we get to the last topic, and we'll have a little bit of fun with that.
I think people still gonna watch him regardless of as the season go on and they continue to get their ass kicked, they won't have.
Yep.
I think we'll just be
gonna have hate watchers
just to watch get their ass whipped.
Yeah, they gonna have the hate watchers.
You see what happened when Shannon opened up the phone line? We see what happened.
Wow. I think we got a bunch of degenerates in our chat.
We definitely do degenerate as fuck.
Oh my goodness.